different. So I went through, so she was telling me in January 22nd of this year, this is what's going to happen. But previously, when I took the bone diagnostic test, about the second week later after that, I had lost mobility in my legs and my feet. I was falling, and I didn't know why. And so by the time I went to visit my oncologist, and she told me about the treatment that they was going to put me on, she was like, what is wrong with you? Why are you in a wheelchair? So I told her what was going on, and she said, Shalmar, something is not right. And she was like, I'm going to have to do emergency. We're going to get you an emergency MRI. So they did an emergency MRI. I never forget, that day it was a Friday, and she said, and they did me an emergency MRI, and you ladies, I tell you, by that morning, by noon, I was admitted to the hospital, and they were like, we're going to have to do immediate surgery. What happened was I had a tumor grow on my neck. That's why, that's why I lost mobility in my legs and my feet. The tumor was in my neck, pressing down on my nerves in my spine. So it's like, we're going to have to remove this. So I went through back surgery. I have 9 screws in my neck. And so I had to go through that, and besides being diagnosed with the breast cancer, so I went through that, back surgery, having 9 screws in my neck. I had to recover from that. So it was like a whirlwind thing. And what the hardest part after receiving my prognosis is that my oncologist said this is stage 4 metastatic breast cancer, and it's not curable. And so they're going to treat me. They're going to treat me with with the pills and injections. So with that being heard, I was in shock and disbelief and not really paying attention to it, and I don't give it, as of today, I don't give it much thought. And because I let my faith just carry me through it, and I don't even think about that it's even stage 4. I don't even think about that. Mm-hmm. So what my takeaways from my journey is that I have learned to appreciate life more, being more persistent, go-getter about living my life on purpose, because I was created for purpose, and I was to walk out my destiny. And so pretty much every day I decree and declare that I shall live and not die, because I shall fulfill what God has created me to do on this earth. And my testimony is that God is truly Jehovah Rapha, the Lord who heals. That is my testimony, because even the doctors, they shake my neurologists and my oncologists, they're like, it's like all the stuff that I have been through from the time I was diagnosed to now, it's like they can't believe it. It's like they look at me now, and it's like I don't even look like anything. I've gone through anything, or I'm going through anything. And I just say that's just about the grace of God. And so I just know that this is, I'm a living testimony to be a living testimony to other women, and to encourage other women, and as well as being an advocate. I'm striving to be an advocate as well to let other women know to do your mammograms. Don't wait late like I did. And even if, you do get your mammograms on a regular basis, but even if you get your mammograms on a regular basis, you still do a self-check and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, a lot of self-care. And so, but that's my journey on what has gone on in my life. I am still going through it, but I know that I'm still in my healing process. But I know God, I'm going to see the other side of it, and God is taking me through it. And so that's pretty much my story.
Amen. Well, we are believing with you that you will be healed and you shall live and not die. And we do know that God is a healer because he sent his word and he healed them. And if you believe and we have faith the size of a mustard seed, God can do anything but fail. So I'm right there, and I'm going to touch and agree with you, honey, that you will be healed. And I just thank you for just sharing that with us on today. And wow, that's just, man, you're so strong. I just listen to you. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going through all this. Like you wouldn't even be able to tell it. So that's truly a testament that God really just is with you, and by his grace, you will come out on the other side. So I was glad sharing that on today. All right, so we have Latasha Mims, and she's going to give us her story about her journey.
Hello, you guys. First, just let me thank you, Kimberly, for having us today to share our testimonies. Just to start, just to let you know, my diagnosis was a self-diagnosis. But let me take it back. 6 years prior to my diagnosis, I was diagnosed in 2013 with stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. I was also HER2 positive. But 6 years prior to my diagnosis, I was 29 at the time. I felt a lump. At that time, your doctors tell you, oh, you're young. You don't need a mammogram right now, whatever. But I insisted. I did. So my primary at the time sent me in for a mammogram. They looked at the site. They did I think it was just a regular mammogram at the time because I didn't know anything about the digital. So it was a regular because I had my breast smashed into the machine. So that was the first time I had ever had a mammogram at 29. But it was ruled out at that time as fatty tissue. He said some women, and I was kind of top heavy, not too heavy. I was like a 38D. I wasn't like double or triple. I was, normal size. So he said women with larger breast size tend to have dense breast tissue. So he ruled it out as fatty tissue. So moving forward, 6 years later, now 35 years old, still have this lump in my chest, has not gone anywhere. It has actually grown in size. It became hard. It was my breast it was on the right side. It was very itchy to the point I started to scratch so much I developed stretch marks. So I was like, something is just not right. And I remember telling my friend at work, who I worked with at the time, I was like, look at this, feel this. And she felt it, and she was like, oh, no, Tosh, you need to get that looked at. I said, I know. So I went in to my primary at the time, and this honest story, because I was having issues with my menstrual cycles as well, she felt like it had a lot to do with that. So she didn't even want to look at it. I was a little disappointed, but I said, you know what? Let's move along. I've left out of there, felt let down or whatever, but I found me another provider, but this time I went to a women's clinic. I went to like an OB. So I went in. I told him, I said, look, I'm not here because I need a pap smear. I'm not here because I'm pregnant. I'm not here because I'm having issues. I need a referral for someone to look at this lump in my chest. So she looked at it. She touched it. She felt it. She said, say no more. So she sent me in for a mammogram, and I went in for the mammogram. They did the screenings, and this time it was a digital mammogram, like ultrasound. So they did the digital, and she started, circling stuff or whatever, so I got kind of nervous because it wasn't just the one spot that I went in for. She was circling several spots. So after that, the oncologist came in, And he actually did not remember me by face or name, but he remembered me by record because 6 years prior, he was the one that did my mammogram. So he came in, he asked, he said, you know, Miss Mims, what's going on with this breast? And I'm like, I don't know, you tell me. So at that time, he told me he'll send me for a needle biopsy. I went in for the biopsy. It came back that I had breast cancer. Stage 3, invasive ductal carcinoma, HER2 positive. I was 35 at the time. I didn't know what to say. You know, I kind of felt like maybe the mammograms failed me, but I won't say that they do not work, because they do. Early detection is the best protection. And for me, knowing what I know now, since I am in the field, and I've learned a lot about my cancer since then, is women with dense breast tissues are the ones that are diagnosed the least. Like 50% of diagnoses are women with dense breast tissue because the mammograms don't pick it up. So my advice would be to women, you know, if you're told that, is to ask for, you know, further testing, ask for digital screenings, ask for needle biopsies, because that's the only way that they can really tell or diagnose it as being cancer. So I ended up, I did a double mastectomy. It was my decision because of the staging and that it had reached outside the breast. I also had micrometastasis in my lymph node areas, which means just tiny cells had broken off into the lymph node area. So I had some positive lymph nodes, and they took 30 out. So I did Herceptin therapy after that. And I'm on hormonal treatment now, which I've been on for 8 years. I'm almost 8 years cancer-free. Also, during my journey, I did, they asked me if I would be interested in a clinical trial. At first, I was like, no, you know, I'm not going to be another study or statistic or saying, you know, why African-American women don't survive. You know, I just had all kind of thoughts. But after thinking about it and talking to my nurse navigators and my team, I did do it. So I was on 3 different chemotherapies. One was a combination drug, and then I had to do a second one. So, like I said, I am almost 8 years cancer-free. My advice that I can offer women who, you know, may be going through this, or if, you know, if you, or want to know if, you know, they have breast cancer, is speak up. You know, if you feel like something is wrong, then 9 times out of 10, it could be something. So, you know, do your self-checks, you know, get your mammograms, and you don't have to wait till you're 40, because cancer is being diagnosed within women way younger now. So don't let them tell you, oh, you're too young, because it has no age limit. So that would be my advice to everyone. And thank you for letting me share.
Wow, 8 years. That's awesome, man. You know, that is so important. We have to make sure when we go to these doctors and they think they know best, but you know your body, you know when something is wrong. And I'm a firm believer for no, you need to check this, do this. Like I'm very serious when it comes to my health, and I'm, you know, I don't want to say I'm a hypochondriac, but I don't let anything go that I feel like is abnormal or anything is wrong, because I know, you know, it's about when you find stuff and what's going on. I think I was about 19, and I was doing, you know, myself breast checks at 19, and I found a lump. And it was under my arm, under the right armpit. So I was like, okay, well, this is like, I'm thinking this is not really your breast. This is under, you know, under your arm. So went to the doctor, and they, you know, scheduled the biopsy and all that. And thank God it was benign. But, you know, just doing those checks, finding that lump, like getting it checked out, seeing what's going on, like you got to do those things. And I've just